Hi, I'm John Mark Young, and welcome to another installment of our Question of the Week video. This week's question comes from Bill in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and he asks, John Mark, we all know that life can sometimes throw us a curveball. Things like unexpected car repairs, we had a medical emergency last year, or even possibly a job loss. That's why Dave teaches us having an emergency fund isn't just smart, it's essential. Dave says it's going to rain, so you better have an umbrella. That's why we have an emergency fund. But once you've started setting aside that safety net, that emergency fund, our question is, where should we actually put it? I'm confused between high yield savings accounts, money markets, regular savings at my bank, treasury bonds, CDs. Can you help us understand the difference of all these different options that we could think about? Well, that's a great question, Bill. One that we often get asked. What should I do with my emergency fund? How big should it be? Should it be 3 months, 6 months? What dollar amount does that constitute, and where should it go? Well, first let's talk about what makes a great emergency fund location. Where are the places I would want to put it and why? The key factors are you need accessibility, you need access to it, you need safety of that emergency fund, and a little growth wouldn't hurt either, right? Today, you could actually get a little growth. Interest rates are not zero anymore. So thankfully, there is a little growth out there today, but it's accessibility. Remember, Dave says your emergency fund is insurance. It's going to cost you, so you can't get super, super high rates. But what you can get is a decent rate. A high yield savings account is a top choice in today's world. Why? It offers interest rates that are as higher than regular savings accounts, meaning your money grows a little better than in a savings account while it waits for you. Plus, it's liquid, so you can get it fast if you need it. Typically, the high yield savings accounts are not in the same place as your bank account, and that's nice because you don't have to look at it, the savings account, the emergency fund, tempting you to use it. It's your emergency fund, right? And so that trip to Bermuda is not an emergency, so you don't want to be looking at it, regardless of how cold it gets in Pittsburgh, Bill. Now, most of these accounts come with no monthly fees and can be managed all online, the transfers and everything. It's your emergency fund working smarter, not harder when it's in a high yield savings account. To give you an idea of current rates on these right now, well, Capital One, which is one of the most popular high yield savings accounts, their rate as of today is 4.25%. Discover Bank, which is another popular online option, is also at 4.25%. The next thing we often talk about with clients is a money market mutual fund. These often have higher interest rates compared to traditional savings, and they can even be higher than the high yield savings. Not all the time, but many times they are. A money market fund is invested into high quality, low to no risk, and short-term types of investments. Those are things like CDs, treasury bonds from the US government, and high yield corporate bonds. They pay their interest once a month, typically like a savings account, and they provide liquidity just like a savings account. Because these are set up with your mutual fund company or investment company, it can be in the same place oftentimes as your Roth IRA or your rollover IRAs, making it convenient because you don't need to set up a third banking relationship. My Roth, my bank, and now this savings account. Well, now this can be in the same place your Roth. To put a primer on these today, the Charles Schwab Advantage Money Market is paying 5.15%. So a little better than even the Capital One and Discover High Yield Savings Account, making the money market mutual fund a very popular option in today's world for emergency fund money. Next, you could consider something like a short-term CD. Now, short-term meaning probably 12 months or less. If you're looking for the potential for a bit more growth, and maybe you can even stagger maturity dates for accessibility. You can build a ladder if you want to work that hard on your emergency fund. Now, remember, withdrawing early from a CD because you're putting it in for a certain time can lead to penalties, so timing is everything. For example, right now, Discover Bank will sell you a CD at 4.7% for a 12-month term. You can't touch the money for 12 months without penalties, but if you truly don't need the money for 12 months, which in the case of an emergency fund is technically unknown, but that could be a good option. The CD might be right for someone who has overfunded their emergency fund. Maybe they got way too much than they actually need, and they're putting it into a CD. However, if you want to look at another CD type of option, you can look at the super safe treasury bills. These government-backed securities are as close to risk-free as you can get. You won't get rich off the interest, just like any savings or emergency fund option, but you also won't have to worry about losing the principal. They are a lot like a CD, and they offer some very, very short-term options, meaning they offer options even less than 12 months. And the interest is state income tax free if you live in a state that you have to pay income tax, which makes the rate even a little better than the quoted rate and better than a CD that doesn't give you that benefit. Sometimes I call these CDs from the US government. The current rate on a 3-month treasury bond, for example, is 5.395% as of the recording of this video. Those do change all the time, but a treasury bond can be good for somebody that wants to lock it up for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, 24 months. You could go all the way up to 30 years, shouldn't, and wants to get a little higher rate and not pay tax to their state on that interest. So where should you put your emergency fund, Bill? Well, it depends on your needs for growth, how quickly you might need to access the money, how comfortable you are with online banks. Do you want it in the same place as your Roth? You should assess your situation and consider all those things we just talked about and choose the one that best fits your financial safety net. Don't wait for the storm to hit, though, before you start thinking about this. And if you don't have an emergency fund, start building and securing your emergency fund today. For more tips and tricks on how to kind of run your financial life and when to build an emergency fund, this is why we love the Dave Ramsey teachings, because he builds an order of operations for you. It's called the baby steps, the 7 baby steps, where you can actually get into a groove of what I should be doing based on where I'm at financially and just focus wholly and exclusively on that. The emergency fund section is baby step 3 to 6 months, and you can use any of those options we talked about today. And if you need more specific or directed advice, you should talk to your financial advisor or financial planner, who can certainly help you think through where is the right place to place my emergency fund. Is it a high yield savings? Is it a bank CD? Is it a U.S. Treasury bond? Is it my money market fund? It could be anything. It could be all of those. Probably don't want it to be all of those. That'd be hard to manage. But they're great options. And now, great rates. When rates are in the 5%, do the law of 72 on 5%. The law of 72 says, how long does it take to double my money? Well, if I got 7%, it's going to double my money every 10 years. At a 5% rate, that money's going to double. Not quite 10 years, a little bit longer than that. But there's an actual probability of doubling my money in my emergency fund if it sticks in there long enough and rates stay up high enough. When you were getting 0.2, divide 0.2 by 72 to see how long it takes to double your money. And maybe your great grandkids would have seen a double back when rates were that low. Thankfully, again, we've got pretty attractive rates for safe money. So again, get some help on where you should put your financial emergency fund. We would love to help you with that if you need our help. And do us a favor, hit the like and subscribe button if this video was helpful to you. Those buttons help us with YouTube, Google, and Rumble's algorithms. They help push our content out to more people and allow our content to be pushed to you as it's released. So thanks so much. We'll look forward to seeing you next week.